Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Raw review for the 12th of July 2021. The final, apparently, at least for now, version of Raw from the Thunderdome environment. I'm not necessarily sure that that's going to go as well as WWE thinks. I don't think they're as hot a product as they think they are. There is a graphic honoring the late great Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff to open the show. Xavier Woods with Kofi Kingston defeats Bobby Lashley with MVP in a non-title match, 10 and 3/4 minutes. Lashley dominates and could have won several times, but Woods catches him with a roll-up in the later point. Woods hits offense. Lashley press slams him over the top rope to the outside. And he bounces off the apron, he being Woods. Lashley drops him on the steps and stares down, and then we go to break. Lashley is in control. Woods comes back with a super kick and DDT, and then nails the champion. Woods follows with a flip dive and a missile drop kick. Doesn't get much of a count, maybe a 1.5, almost 2. Woods applies crossface, but Lashley powers out, and Lashley follows with a spinebuster and a version of Dominator. Lashley does some showboating and drags him to the post, hits a spear back in the ring. Lashley boasts, and then we see Woods get a small package surprise victory. Making the champion look weaker against someone you know is not going to win the championship is just stupid. Announcers speculated that he might have lost a step here. Kevin Patrick approaches MVP and asks if it's true that Lashley had left the building. MVP said it's true, but it's not a big deal. He wanted to blow off some steam, but then he'd be back for the lounge tonight. And then Jinder Mahal is shown arriving at the building earlier today. He's on a motorcycle. Veer and Shanky are here. They have Drew McIntyre's sword. This is just goofiness. Anyway, speaking of goofiness, Alexa's Playground with Eva Marie and Doudrop. Alexa is excited to return to live crowds and excited about the idea of winning Money in the Bank. Eva Marie is also on the swing set, reminding Bliss that she and Doudrop are still there. Bliss is happy to see them, and she loves saying Doudropped. Eva Marie is annoyed by Bliss, and Bliss isn't paying attention to her. She mentioned that Doudrop is actually one invited to the playground, not Eva, and calls herself a star of the show. She's unimpressed and said that this is the last time she'd be on Alexa's show. They splice in pictures of Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks from the ESPN Awards to make themselves seem relevant. Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre are here in a segment. Mahal's in the ring, and he's on the red carpet. He invites McIntyre to the ring. He wants to offer an olive branch and hand him back his sword. McIntyre appears on screen. He knows that Mahal is lying about wanting to do business with him and asks him to get to the point. Mahal says McIntyre should trust him given everything they've been through. Mahal said that his henchman had the sword refined. They unveil the sword only to reveal that it is in fact broken. McIntyre knew better than to bring a real sword or car or whatever to Monday Night Raw because it'll just get destroyed. He's informed by Mahal that the sword in the ring is a replica, and McIntyre had the real sword on him. This is just goofiness. McIntyre walks over to the motorcycle and noted that it's definitely not a replica. McIntyre tears a piece of the bike off and knocks the bike over. He advised Mahal that he can fix it with a bit of elbow grease. Riddle approaches Nikki Ash. He wonders why she doesn't just fly above the ladder to grab the contract. He lets her know that she's almost a superhero. She's about to explain, but Riddle begins rambling about some random things that don't make sense, nor where I guess they meant to. Her music hits, and she's about to fly. And Riddle says, I thought you said you couldn't fly. During the next match, a graphic pops up for the VIP lounge with MVP and Lashley. Fatal 4-Way, Nikki Ash defeats Asuka, Naomi, and Bliss in 13 minutes. This one way too long. Naomi and Asuka knock each other down by kicking each other at the same time. Bliss and Cross went after Marie and Doudrop on their way. Or Doudrop and Marie get her on her way to the ring. Asuka clotheslines Naomi and Bliss gives Asuka DDT. Bliss decides to leave the ring, making her way for Marie and Doudrop. Doudrop compliments Bliss on her DDT. Bliss goes right towards Marie. Bliss shrieks like she did last week. Doudrop came to Marie's aid and slams her over the barricade. Camera goes on to reveal Bliss disappeared. Commercial break. And then we go to back from the break. Asuka goes nuts on Nikki and Naomi, and they get 2 counts. Naomi kicks Asuka in the head, gives Nikki a rack bomb, and Asuka a back suplex and leg drop to both women at the same time. Nikki then gives Naomi a tornado DDT. Asuka breaks up the pinfall. Naomi and Asuka each tried submissions, but it gets broken up. Cross gives Asuka flying crossbody, but Naomi breaks that up. Asuka knocks Naomi out of the ring with a hip attack. Asuka and Nikki trade covers. Nikki applies a roll-up for the pinfall when Nikki pins Asuka, and Nikki celebrates. This is the beginning of the second hour as Sarah interviews the Viking Raiders. Ivar didn't appreciate AJ Styles insulting their lifestyle choice. He mentioned he has good hygiene and AJ should learn respect. Eric planned on using Omos' inexperience to find a crack in his armor and find a way to victory before they regain the tag team championships next week. AJ and Omos enter the ring. AJ apologized for calling the Viking Raiders barbarians. He should have called them hairy barbarians instead. Uneducated, poison infested, and they never should have gotten in the wooden boat. This is just goofy. Raiders keep getting into his business and cost him a chance at Money in the Bank. Styles plans on breaking Ivar's leg with a calf crusher, which almost destroying Eric, and they plan on tearing the Raiders apart. They announced tag match for Money in the Bank. This is originally scheduled for next week's Raw, so they can't even keep it straight in their own commentary. Ivar with Eric defeated AJ Styles with almost 345. Ivar wins by slamming Styles on the corner. I guess another upset is how they're pushing this. Almost with AJ Styles defeats Eric. Eric managed to get almost stumbling for a moment, but almost hits Street Slam, gets a victory. Sheamus yells at Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville in the back for forcing him to defend the U.S. title despite having a broken nose. He calms down and assures them that they'd be on the same page. Sheamus turns to leave and smirks, and Pearce and Deville seemed a bit uneasy about his behavior. Sheamus wore a face shield to protect his nose. It's all black instead of transparent like the ones that we usually see. Kingston Woods speak with Lucha House Party in the back. Why are they still employed? Schreiber approaches New Day in an interview. Kingston puts over Woods, win over Lashley. Schreiber lets them know that Lashley is back in the building. MVP's lounge. Kingston's amused and said, of course, Lashley is distancing himself from losing and all of that. Woods, said Kingston, would have become champion. Kingston and Lashley are focused on the wrong things. Kingston's the kind of champion that all the challengers in all their days are upon him. He planned on beating Lashley in front of a live crowd to become a 2-time world champion. Money in the Bank video package focusing on ladder matches. They cut back to Sheamus attacking Carrillo. Officials checked on Carrillo. Sheamus walks away. Sheamus cross paths with Damian Priest, but they didn't speak. Priest checks on Carrillo. Pierce and DeVille told Carrillo he didn't have to compete tonight. They said they could do the match another time. Carrillo said he wants to fight tonight. He can stand, he can fight. And then Mansoor and Mustafa Ali are there for a moment. Ali smiles, shakes his head, and leaves. What a completely useless storyline this is. Carrillo fell to his knees in pain as soon as the match begins. Sheamus is defeated in 17 seconds, gets hit with a brogue kick, and off we go. Priest runs down and tries to make a save and is able to get Sheamus to run away. Riddle wants to accompany Ricochet to the ring. Ricochet tells him not to worry about it. They're both excited about Money in the Bank on Sunday. Really? It's Sunday? And people care about this? Anyway, Riddle is excited to watch his favorite Western. Ricochet thought he meant Tombstone. Riddle says Toy Story 2. Smoking My Boat line reminds him of Randy Orton. Orton snaking a boat. And he points to this guy and said he missed Randy. This is just goofy. Riddle also wants to cash in the Tag Team Championship, but Ricochet wasn't sure he could do that, and he realized that Ricochet was probably right. After more talk, Miz and Morrison show up. Miz sprays Ricochet in the face with water. Morrison rolls over Riddle's foot, and we go into the third hour, which match isn't too bad. 16:02. Ricochet defeats John Morrison, although they wouldn't do this in front of a live crowd, I don't think, because I don't think they care about Miz Morrison or Ricochet enough to give them 16 minutes in a non-taped show in front of a live crowd. Morrison gives Ricochet a neckbreaker on the apron for near fall. Morrison tries to cover his feet on Miz's wheelchair for a 2. Morrison sets up Starship Pain in the ring. Ricochet pops up and hits a German suplex for near fall. They fight in the crowd. Ricochet high fives one on the screen. Morrison takes an awkward tumble off the barricade. Ricochet follows up with a 450 off the barricade for near fall. Morrison standing outside the ring, and Ricochet hits a shooting star press off the top of the ring post, which leads to a break. Why are we going to break after a move like that? That should get multiple replays and a lot of shock. But anyway, Morrison places a ladder bridge between the ring and the announce table. Ricochet goes for a dive, but stops when Miz rolls out in front of Morrison. Ricochet hits a flip dive, flying right over Miz for near fall. Back in the ring, they fight on the stage until Morrison goes to the back. Ricochet goes after him, but enters the gorilla position. Nails him with a super kick and a knee strike for near fall. And I gotta grab my phone, so we'll be back in two shakes of a lamb's tail here. And I mean, I find it quite sad because there's talented people there who are just wasting away. But again, that's something we've been talking about over the last year on this channel, and that is not immune to this product overall in the last, 10 years, if not longer. Anyway, so Morrison and Ricochet, they go into the backstage. Ricochet uses the wheelchair down the ramp and hit a running clothesline. Miz distracts Ricochet. Morrison hits a corkscrew neckbreaker for near fall. Riddle comes down to the ring. Anyway. Ricochet gives Morrison a recoil before placing him on the ladder bridge. Ricochet finishes him off with a splash off the top through the ladder for the pinfall win. And then Sarah asks Natalya what she wanted to prove tonight against Rhea Ripley. Natalya has a plan. She wants to be a triple champion, and if she beat Ripley tonight, she'd be one step closer. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke happen to be nearby, and they're laughing at Natalya. And Tamina, I would be too. Rose and Natalya can't have a foolproof plan. If it came from a fool, they argued until Tamina shows up and shoved Brooks. Brooks wanted to go after her. Rose held her back. Patrick interviews McIntyre. McIntyre tells us a story about Icarus, and then he flies too close to the sun, leads to McIntyre saying nothing, not even the sun, would stop him from becoming Mr. Money in the Bank. Announcers run down the completely weak Money in the Bank card. Sarah asks Ripley why she accepted Natalya's challenge so close to her title defense. Ripley isn't one to back down from a challenge. She's already exposed Charlotte Flair as being a drama queen, and then we move to, um, basically the women's match being the final match of the show, and then the MVP lounge closing the show out. Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley defeats Natalya in 9.5 minutes, non-title match. Probably one of the better matches that Natalya's had in a while. Even fight, Ripley drop kicks Tamina by accident outside the ring. Natalya moves. Natalya follows with a discus clothesline, leads to a break. Ripley knocks Natalya off with a headbutt and follows up with a missile dropkick. Natalya tries fighting back. Ripley uses another dropkick for near fall, followed by a Northern Lights suplex for a 2 count. Natalya drives Ripley's head into the ring post, follows up with a sit-out powerbomb for near fall. Ripley blocks a low dropkick and applies a cloverleaf. Natalya reverses into a roll-up for near fall. Natalya applies a sharpshooter, but Ripley rolls through, drives Natalya into the turnbuckle. Ripley kicks Natalya in the head and hits a riptide for the win. Charlotte chop blocks Ripley after the match and puts her in the figure 4, hanging off the side of the ring. Charlotte gets asked after the match if this is a preview of Sunday. Charlotte basically says that this isn't about pieces in the game. It's about the player, and she learned from the dirtiest player in the game, and she will take out Ripley at Money in the Bank. I can't believe anybody would really care about this show. Anyway, MVP's in the ring for the VIP lounge. This should be called Lashley Dome. He says he's honored to introduce Bobby Lashley. Lashley doesn't enter, tries a bigger introduction. Lashley asks 5 women to excuse them. They leave, and then Lashley is thinking about Kingston's words. He thought it was trash talk, but then he realized Kingston's right about MVP making him soft. He then lost to Xavier Woods, of all people. He should have stacked Woods and Kingston in a pile on top of each other. He appreciated everything MVP did for him, but the BS and had to stop. MVP nods in agreement. Lashley wants to destroy everyone who challenges for the championship. Lashley begins destroying the lounge, and he destroys the tables and throws a couch out of the ring. Lashley warns Kingston that he's going to tear him in half and leave him with Money in the Bank and leave as champion from the network preview. He hopes Kingston would bring his family and friends, so all his fans back, because he would dismantle him. Lashley plans on caving his face in on Sunday, and that would be the end of his career. Good heel run here, but I don't know where they go with Lashley from here unless they have a much bigger opponent planned. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.